Hey, Tony. Yep, just hanging out here, clowning around.
That's right. There's a bunch of clowns
You
around here,
know,
right?
I thought you were talking about me.
I know,
I'm
right?
still here.
You're
I'm
still
still
here.
here,
You
everybody.
know, yeah, I know. We're still
Can't get
here.
rid of me.
No, cannot. Yeah, we can't get rid of Ramon. No, not at all. But anyway, we have permissions. I'm going to give Ramon, Mindy, and myself full permissions on that Discord as well as on the live chat. Ramon has it on
That
the
was
live chat, but we just,
that was me spamming. That was me
that's
spamming
yeah.
everybody.
We had to correct Ramon right away. Well, it was there was a hidden message behind there. That's very funny. It's just we want people to stay on our channel. That's what we want. But anyway, we'll get underway here. NBA
I
League
may
Pass.
go on 24 hours in a
I
few.
know, I know, I know, I know, I know. You took a thank you for taking a shot at our cappers this morning. I think it was much needed. I hope our GM heard that. I have a solution, but he doesn't want to. He doesn't like me because I'm a little more heavy-handed with it. But anyway, here we go tonight, 8 Eastern time. Bulls here to host the Hawks here. The Bulls here laying a point total 239.5.
Oh, well, we'll see what happens tonight with these two. Pretty big total, certainly, Tony, but I don't know. These two teams right now, not much defense, so I may think that it may reach the top of this range between the Hawks and the Bulls. The Hawks have, well, they've started to heat up a little bit thanks to the combo of not only Trey Young, who's been back in lineup for a while, looking good, and also DeJounte Murray is finally fulfilling those expectations when the Hawks acquired him before the season, and they've worked out things pretty well between Young and Murray. So things are really starting to peak offensively for Atlanta. They still got the same kind of defensive level, I would think. So I have this one maybe a high scoring game. Look, they've gone over, Atlanta has, in 27 of the last 45 games, 15 and 9 to the over on the road this year, including four straight games with the average finish close to 250 points per game in those last four games. They've given up 120 points or more in three straight games. Meanwhile, the Bulls have gone over in six of their last eight, and they're 10 and 4 to the over off of a straight up win, as well as 6-1 and 1 to the over against sub 500 road teams. Four of the last six meetings between these two teams have gone, well, over this number pretty much. I think one of them might have landed right on 240, which is still over this number now with the tick down by half a point to 239 and a half. They've played one over and one under this year, but back on December 11th, it was 123, 122 in favor of the Hawks. The Hawks were favored in that one at home by about 5 points or so. Did not get the cover in that one. Pretty strong pace of play between these two teams. You'll find them both about, I think, in the top seven or so when it comes to pace of play. And another metric would be that both teams are near the bottom in location effective field goal percentage. That's giving up field goals in the positions that they are expected to give up a certain percentage. So as long as these guys get their shots tonight against very subpar defensive teams, should feel like that should be the case. You've got to think that Young and Murray, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, even inside, I think, where maybe we think that there might be a little bit of resistance. I don't know. Vucevic and maybe John Collins as well probably can be as effective too in this one. So I don't see them stopping each other here, Tony. And it was going to be a premium when I had my early numbers here, which showed that it got steamed up certainly, and the send out was pretty low too at about 237 and a half. But I think in a couple points over, I'll just take it just a notch down, but I'll still go over here for my free pick on the show where we've had a pretty good run of late. So let's go over tonight in Atlanta and Chicago.
All right, Ramon says go over the total here with the Atlanta Hawks and the Chicago Bulls here tonight in tonight's game between these two teams. With the Bulls, of course, we're looking here at go back and look at these injuries. Look to me that Atlanta's going to field pretty much a healthy squad here. This team has been banged up a lot. I mean, a lot in the past few games here, but it looked to me like they were getting about healthy. So have the Chicago Bulls, of course. Both of these teams can have some issues defensively, especially the Hawks on the road. It's really tough to pack them on the road. You look over their past 8 road games; they're allowing about 114 points per 100 possessions, while scoring 114 per 100. And the Bulls are actually at home putting up some points here, 117 points per 100 possessions, but they're giving them up as well, 114 per 100. So just look at the numbers here. It looks to me that this one definitely would trend to the over, especially the way both teams are defensively.
Yeah, and when they've clicked up together too, I mean that's been kind of the key between these two teams, as they seem to be going over. Long term, they are an under, so those numbers would indicate that maybe these two might have a solution for one another. But I don't see, why at this point, given their current state of affairs defensively. I think that against. Reflective in that last game, well, 2 games back. They came back 2 nights later, probably had a look at one another and ended up going for just 218. But again, that was, they played that little series where they're playing 2 games in a span of 3 days. So maybe they had a look, and now where we're starting to see those numbers go back up again league wide. Just when we thought that maybe it was trending down, here come all the scoring again in the league. So, it is going to slow down, Tony, but it's going to be when we get to crunch time in the season. I think that's when we'll start to see some defense. Maybe the second half was supposed to bring a little bit of downturn, I think, in the scoring, but just look across the board on these totals today. I mean, everything today is in the 235 range or higher. There's only one total, I think, that might even be under 234-ish, and that's Boston and Orlando. And Boston, we know, is one of the teams that comes out firing. So again, no signs of the scoring to stop at this point league wide. It's been quite startling, quite actually. I don't know what the league can do. Maybe this is what they want. It is, maybe more exciting. I joked about it on the show the other day when, I mean, Tony, we used to watch those Eastern Conference Finals back in the early '90s, right? I mean, there were totals. Tony, I promise you, everybody, if you were, there were like 174s, 178s when we got into the playoff rounds. When you'd have Detroit, right, Chicago, the Knicks, that was standard. Especially when you'd see those teams that specialized in it. Now we're dealing with totals that
Oh,
range 60 points higher. So just crazy. I hope
well, those were the
everyone.
days. Those were the days when you had most starting lineups, guys in their late 20s, early to mid 30s. Right? It's been a change. I remember this. There were playoff games in the 60s. Wasn't that Heat Nets game in the 90s when I think the Nets were held in the 50s and the Heat were in the 60s. You don't especially that old Barkley rule, and you just don't, and the hand checking. They don't allow a lot of physical contact anymore with the ball handlers and the guards, and that's was really what kept the veterans in the league. They thought, hey, I've been in the league long enough. I'm going to get away with a little bit more with the refs, and the refs kind of allowed them to, right? They allowed the contact inside. I remember back in the day when Tony Parker would drive on the Lakers and score layups the whole way, the next game, I think in their playoff series. That one of those series turned around because the Lakers put him on his butt every time he went to the hole.
Well, what I see right now, Tony, as far as and someone mentioned it, one of our chatters had mentioned it too, because I had suggested, the only solution, what you're getting in the fatigue factor, the rest factor, the injury, the rest management, if you will, because they put these trackers on the players. They're running twice as far as they did in games back then because of pace of play. So one suggestion I was saying, expand rosters. That would take a whole deal with the players union and things like that. But maybe the game should be run more like a hockey game, right? More players taking the floor so you can save the wear and tear on these guys. If they're playing twice as, running twice as far, they're playing basically twice as many games as what was expected back in the day. So that's why maybe we're seeing also less defensive intensity there, faster pace of play. We just need more players, deeper rotations than, because even when you get those injury management games, then you're faced with tackling a team with just 7 or 8 players when these teams end up resting, a bulk of players on those rest days. So the league has its work cut out for them into what I don't even know if it's being considered a problem at this point, but
They're playing
this is
too fast. They're playing. The thing is, when you start drafting high schoolers in there and you're putting them in the game, they're so much fast. They have faster recovery time. They can go fast the whole game. Where a lot of these players have logged so many minutes on the court, and they just don't have their tendons start to wear out quickly. If you're playing at this fast pace, you're going to feel pushing your tendons to the max here, and your joints, your cartilage, everything, muscles as well. So this is what we're seeing, this fast pace come in from all the 18-year-olds that are coming in. And many of these young players come in pretty much now NBA ready. It seems like the way with these current rules.
well, there's no doubt about that. Again, the young players are changing the dynamic of the game, certainly, but it just comes in general. That's the way the game is being officiated as well. You don't have, yeah, I guess there's still the ticky tackness of the fouls being called, but again, the off ball screens, the way the ball is moved around so effectively. I mean, some of the more the good teams show the way it can be played, but I don't know. We just don't see the refs kind of allowing that. Uh,
Well,
you know,
so it's the rules, right? We have sort of like the soccer yellow card, red card rule now in the NBA, where you can get carded, right? If the fouls seem too hard, right?
No, I would guess that would be the case, no doubt about it. And again, not much defense between these two teams. Certainly, they've shown certain vulnerability. And like I said, I have the up arrows on Young, Murray, and Collins, Demar, Levine, and Vucevic here. So I would expect it could be another one of those 250s tonight, as they did back in the first meeting of the season between the two.
There we go. Hawks and Bulls over 239 and a half. This one will have a start time here of 8 p.m. Eastern time. It just seems now that Trae Young's a crusty old veteran now. That's the way it seems now in the league. All right, Ramon, let's take a look over at TonySpeaks.com for tonight's action here. As Ramon's still a little, still steaming here for that morning show. See if we can get him rolling here tonight. Ramon over on the site today, doing great work in the NBA. 1,221 units of profit in the NBA. That's all documented over at Tony's Picks. We got NBA on the board tonight. We got some college basketball as well. Hockey. What do you have going over at Tony's Picks?
Yeah, Tony and I focused in on a 5 pack in the NBA, and they're going to be a lot of totals. So that's the way I'm looking at it. How do I feel about these totals? Maybe you'll find out by getting my 5 pack. Hey, all of our picks over at Tony's Picks are documented, so there's no way around it. I mean, that's what we do. We document these picks. We come on here, make these plays all on the record. We don't switch our play in the middle of the game, change the results. It's a third party documented source. So that's the way you run this game. That's the way that you earn the trust of the people. You own up to your wins, you own up to your losses. And right now, you look at the handicappers on our site, you're seeing a lot of winning. You can't go on there selling picks if you're clocking in at 40%. You got to show profit. You got to show good results. And that's what we do over at Tony's Picks. So I got a 5 pack in my best one of my best sports. You see it right there in the NBA. My numbers of late, very, very solid. But built it up last year in the second half of the season as well. I'm sure that'll be the case again heading into the postseason, where I ended up crushing it again too. So, going to be a good run here towards the end of the season in the NBA. A lot of storylines coming up, especially once we get past just our 3 games left in football, unfortunately. Probably come in later, Tony. This is a weird card in college basketball. And, well, Mindy and I had a couple of agreements, certainly on our show today, where we're absolutely destroying, quite honestly. If you look at those numbers, too, there's no making those up when we go on the morning steam show. Mindy and I make all those plays. We put them in the system to document them, and you see the impossible numbers that we're putting up. I'm fortunate to have Mindy as my co-host, and starting off the show with her pick each time. That's what I get to choose from: agree or pivot the other way. But we put up some great numbers there, and we're hot in the hockey too. So I don't even have a card in hockey. We're involved in 3 plays with Team Steam, so I always have to include those as my picks over there at Tony's Picks. That's what we do. We give out the free picks on the show, but we do document them, and they're for sale right now at Tony'sPicks.com, where you can pick up a package from either me or Team Steam or Mindy. So right now, Tony, just that 5 pack in the NBA. I think I got something cooking in college, but it's coming on the extra board, and it's just a little tougher to get to some of those games right on because of the nature of those teams. Need a little bit of extra digging to make sure because you don't see as many of their games. Really, just a lot of statistical information when it comes to the MIAC and the SWAC games that come on a Monday card like this. So I do like a lot of those games, and I'm going to have something I do believe in the HBCUs tonight. So there you see the numbers. I mean, they speak for themselves, Tony. And yeah, pick up my 3 day. If you would have did that this weekend, you had a pretty good run yesterday. I swept both plays in the NFL. I didn't need to get wishy washy there. Took them straight out. Bengals, Niners, no problem. So just played 2 plays yesterday, despite my usual tendency for high volume. Just stuck with the NFL, and of course, clean sweep on the board there. So please pick up my 5 pack, $35, but use the promo code Tony T at checkout. That saves you 20%. And my NBA is running pretty good, so I'd expect some good sales heading into game time tonight with that 5 pack in the NBA. So it's going to be a good week, Tony, as we get ready for conference championship Sunday. With we had a lot of deliberation throughout the season, but look who we've ended up with, some pretty good teams heading into the Final Four in the NFL. So appreciate you, man.
That's right, guys. Got a bar with Ramon Scott over at Tony'sPicks.com. Great results here, as you see here from the NBA. 1,221 units of profit in the NBA. That's all documented here as basketball. Now comes the focus as we kind of willing down the NFL to just 3 games left here in the next 2 weeks. or next 3 weeks, actually, 3 weeks, because we have that week bye here in the NFL. So a good time to get on board with Ramon here. As you can see, the great units he's produced here in the NFL, and NBA, I should say, over the past 30 days. Remember last year, he had a fantastic run in the NBA around this time of the year heading into the playoffs. So get on board with Ramon's 5 pack tonight here from the NBA. A 5 pack from the NBA. Get on board. That is profit guaranteed, meaning it must turn a profit, or the amount you purchase is credit back in your account for a site credit. That is profit guarantee. Also, as we mentioned here, the longer term passes could serve you well. That 7-day pass is a great one to go with here on a Monday here, because this will get you all of Ramon's premium plays for 7 days. As NBA, as college basketball, NHL, of course the NFL, right? The championship series here, both championship games here on Sunday. Ramon coming off a sweep of the NFL yesterday, so get on board there with that 7-day pass. Also, peripheral sports included, UFC as well as tennis, as Ramon's in action here with the tennis as well. You'll see plays from him there. We've got the Australian Open going off, and maybe we caught up on his sleep. Maybe he'll get to watch some of these tournaments overnight and get some of those plays there from Ramon there from ATP. From the Australian Open. All right, Ramon will also put together a Twitter account for you over at Tony's Picks Ramon. That morning Steam show, good show today. Of course, with Mindy there, with the good coverage of the card for today's action, and of course as well, we can find just well on our Discord account that we have linked there on our chat room.
Yeah, appreciate what you were saying. I mean, no problem. No skin off of my back. Just when you think you have a friend or give them an opportunity to showcase their skills, now they turn their back on you, and stab you in the back. So you know what to do with friends like that. They're not worth having, right? No, that's just the way it is. So we'll get back to action with Team Steam and get back on the horse. And, well, what can you say? I mean, especially the run we're having right now in hockey, Tony. We went 7-0 on Saturday, 3-0 yesterday, 2-1 in between that with our NHL picks. And we got a chat room that loves hockey big time.
Yes.
So that's worked out really good, and those numbers are proven. I mean, you can say all you want, you can talk all the trash you want, but all we do is go on there and pick the games. Right now in hockey, it seems like we can't. Seems like we can't. We. My picks yesterday, like I said, I only had 2 picks on the premium, and I almost couldn't miss on the show. You can go back and watch it yourselves. I don't know if anybody was paying attention, but I don't have the exact record, but it might have been all the games. I might have been 2 losses. I don't know. It was really obscene. I'm almost embarrassed to say how good it was. But yeah, Tony. So I got a pick today over there on social media, being the game between Bethune Cookman and Alcorn State, talking about some of those schools. Take a look at that one. Another free pick, and I have two videos up on the site embedded on Tony'sPicks.com in the same direction. I got Norfolk State, Morgan State, Maryland Eastern Shore, North Carolina Central. Take a look at those MEAC games there on Tony'sPicks.com. A couple more videos, little preview, a couple trends, and promotion of our sponsor as well. So more free picks. That's what we do. You don't have to pay for them if you don't want to, but we are here with those picks over at Tony'sPicks.com. Absolutely our best picks every day over at Tony's Picks. Use that promo code Tony T at checkout. We'll be back with more morning steam. No problem. I mean, you guys are maybe making too much of it or whatever. But hey, even I know when to cut the ties. I mean, I've given some people a long rope, give them every chance in the world. But man, if you're not smart enough to figure out where are you going to end up in life, really? So yeah, maybe I've ended up in YouTube on a box with Tony T. But this is where I'm going to be. This is where you're going to find me from here on out. Probably even more. So you might as well make friends with me if you want to hang around. Tony's the boss. We got the GM. I'm just a independent contractor here. But when I find a place I like, I usually dig in for the long haul. And my track record of just employment in general shows that when I'm happy somewhere, I've stayed there a very, very long time. Basically in my, 3 or 4 jobs that I've had. So, in my mid 50s, I basically had 3 or 4 jobs, pretty much hanging around probably 10 years until Tony's old and gray.
Yeah.
And I am
And,
too.
and
I'm
you don't wear
already,
your cap backwards, do you?
I'm about to. Yep.
Oh, you're about to. Okay. All right, guys. Get on board here with Ramon over at Tony's Picks and get on board with his 1 week pass. And, of course, that 5-pack tonight from the NBA where he's been on absolute fire. All right, Ramon, I've been there many times getting, it's not the, it's happening many, many times here on channel. I've been on this racket. Actually, I started on sports radio. Funny when we were bringing up that Tony Parker, because I remember I was involved very heavily with the sports radio show with Kurt Rambis. Was always I was one of the top LA sports talk stations. I did a lot of work for them and web work. And I remember with Kurt Rambis was this, we could get a lot of we would get all this stuff. And that was one of the things, one of the sports personality told Rambis, this was off the air, he goes, man, next time Tony Parker goes to the hole, you better just make sure he lands on his butt. And what happens next game? He lands on his butt and Lakers took over the series. I remember that several years ago. But yeah, bring back some of those memories. The 90s are the low-scoring games, and when you can get away with the hard fouls, which you can't do that anymore in the league. A lot has changed in the league. The hard foul is one of the big ones, and that's a lot of changes in the league. But again, it's a faster-paced game. I'm just watching a replay of this Memphis Laker game. Look how fast they get the ball up court. Look how fast they get. It's like Loyola Marymount speed, Ramon. It's just what it is.
No, it's entertaining. It's entertaining, and there will be defense. I mean, we see it. We'll see some of those games. Look, maybe the teams that are playing defense might be a little bit underrated. Like right now, you see Miami starting to build a little bit something here. They might not have enough offense
Yeah, and the
to get
shooting,
it done. They
3-point
might be
shooting.
able to, yeah. But still, they can alter their game just a little bit, maybe to make it uncomfortable for someone like that. So I think Miami, and I think if you looked at a team like that out west, a team that's totally underachieved, but can play a little more defense on a moment's notice as a team like Dallas. So we'll see. I mean, the numbers don't necessarily indicate that they can come back and get involved and be a part of it, but those are the teams to maybe be on the lookout for the playoff upset. I would think when we get there, teams that can change the pace a little bit and make it
Well, we
uncomfortable.
saw we thought that the case. I mean, one series comes to mind was that Raptors Philadelphia. The Raptors, they play defense. They're going to stop. They had no shot in that. They got pounded in that series against Philly. That was the one team. Oh, this is the defensive team that's going to come in here and make noise, be the upset. Didn't happen there against the 76ers.
Yeah, and I think the Sixers might look. I mean, when you got the big man in there, I mean, he can change it on both ends actually. So it's going to be good. Again, we're not really in a situation right now where we can claim anybody head and shoulders. Even the Warriors. I mean, Kerr said it himself. He said, "Hey, don't worry about us. I mean, we were in the same exact position last year, and look what happened." So,
Yeah,
they're
I
not
don't like
worried.
that. I don't like that
Um,
response too much, though. It's just it's kind of like making an excuse for poor performance. I don't really think that's. I don't like that attitude, and usually doesn't come to wish that you play well. You need to address the issues now. Don't use that
Yeah,
as
but
an
one thing about Kerr is that he is one of the more right out of the Pops table. I mean, he's going to be
yeah.
upfront and honest, and he probably at least believes it too. So that's all I think with him. He's not going to dilly dally around the situation, and
Oh,
one
look
of the
at
more
this. Look at this. This is the big move. Big move here. Big move. Lakers get Roy Hachimura and this is the guy I was tabbing on a lot of shows about Hachimura. This kid had 20 points. This is a huge pickup for the Lakers. Hachimura to the Lakers. This is a monster move for LA. I thought about it today when I saw his numbers yesterday. 20 point. Boy, this guy would be something on the Lakers. They get him. Hachimura to the Lakers. I think this is a pretty good move.
Yeah, that was on the hot stove this morning. Certainly, it looked like it might be the case. We're maybe just waiting for the confirmation to come down, but that one was already a pretty hot topic, and I wasn't sure that it would come necessarily, but we'll look into that certainly. But it was certainly something that was talked about quite hot and heavy on the stove this morning. When I was looking at the NBA notes, there was already some discussion that that one was hot and in the works. So we'll see with Rui Hashimoto coming over to the
Wow, he was
Lakers.
hurt a
That
lot. He was hurt a lot during the year. When he came back off injured, it really spiked the Wizards, and he's a really good. Again, he's kind of like that Norman Powell guy on the Clippers who can come and give you 20 off the bench. But I think if you use him off the bench, he could definitely be a good addition. But again, with Westbrook in there, we'll see how that works. That's always the thing you got to worry about. You got a steady hand that can make 20 and hit shots. But that's a big acquisition for the Lakers because that's someone I had my eyes on. Looks like the sky. Like Lakers may have improved their scouting department now when I see moves like that because that was always a big miss with them, as they could not identify the needs properly for their team. And they relied too much on, Phil can figure it out. Oh, Phil, or no, Pat Riley will figure it out. No, you need to help them out once in a while. Okay, help them out once in a while. All right, Ramon, continue that great success. I know we'll talk with you again tomorrow.
Thank you, Tony. See you then.
You got Ramon Scott.